Hi, hello, vanakkam, and welcome to yet another episode on Little Slaw YouTube channel. So you're seeing the LoadRunner dashboard. Yes, the video is going to be about how to set up the parameterization in LoadRunner, and let us see how to do an image check or a text check, and let's see how to add that. And what's special about the parameterization today? So in many of the videos, even I have seen during my initial days and in many of the blogs which I have read, I could not find an option where we could not set multiple parameters in the single file, in a same file. So today, let me give you a demo on how to set multiple values, say for example, a username, a password in the same file and use them in the parameters part. So let's see how to do it, and this has multiple benefits as well. Let's see them in the video. So let's deep dive into the video. And before we deep dive, let me ask you and let me request you to subscribe if you have not subscribed to my channel, Little Slaw. If so, please do subscribe and please like my video and share it to your friends. So let's now dive into the video. So we'll start a script now. We'll start a solution and a script. So we'll start a web HTTP HTML script. And let me name it as little law underscore parameter. Since parameterization is what we are going to deal today, let me enter the solution name as well, which is parameter or little's law. And let's start the solution now. So now we have the solution and the script created. So let's now start recording. So it's a basic script, which is going to be a simple landing page and a sign in. So which will end very quickly. So let's start recording the script. And I'm using the web browser and it is Google Chrome, and I'm recording the action into the actions folder. And this is going to be the URL address. And I'm clicking on start recording. So this will trigger the browser to start the action. So now we have got the browser that is getting loaded. Let's now start the transaction as well, which is going to be the landing page. Let's wait for some more seconds to get the page loaded. So now the page has loaded. Let's enter the store, and I'm entering the transaction as enter the store, and I'm clicking on OK. And let's enter the store. Now we have entered the store. That's our second transaction. Let's end the transaction. And now let's do the sign in. Sign in and clicking OK. And let's do the sign in. So this username is 1 and the password is 1. And I'm clicking on login. So now we are into the pet store page, and let's now sign out. So with that, we are closing the script. I'm clicking on sign out. So this is enough for us to give a demo on the parameters part, and I am closing the script now. I'm stopping the recording. So with that, we come to an end in the recording part, and let me close the browser. Let's go to the tool. So the script is getting generated with all the values that we have recorded. And behind the screens in the background, all the possible correlations are taking part. Codes. So let's move to the actions file where we can see, and we can just move to the actual part that we are looking now. So we will go to the actual part, which is the login part. So the actual part is the username and login. So let me just search it. So to search, I will have to go to the search menu and click on quick find, and let me enter the text that I want to search, which is 1, and I'm clicking on find next, and that will take me to the username and password area. So this is the one that we are going to replace. Okay, so let's now see how to create a parameter. So under the script, we have this parameters component. So let me double click on it, and we have this parameter list that is getting popped up, and let me click on new. So this will take me to the new parameter, and I'm clicking on the I'm entering the name as credentials. And always I would recommend to use the same parameter file, because in most of the cases where if we want to zip the script and move it to the performance center to run the script, when you when you create the file into this dat file dat file, it will come along with the script. Whereas in many of the cases when I have created this as a separate file, and that is getting created in a separate folder, so there are a lot of interdependencies where I'm not able to transport the files into the performance center. So I would always recommend you to create this as a file into the same folder and in the dat file, dat format. So that will actually help you while you transport the script to the performance center part. So let me click on create table and I'm clicking edit with notepad, and here I'm giving us username comma password. So the username is going to be 1 comma 1 is going to be password. Again, 2 comma 2 is going to be the username and password, and I'm giving an enter to create a space after this, and I'm closing it now. So with that, we have two variables. One is the username and the password, which is 1 and 2. And here I have, let me create another variable here, which is going to be password. So to get that file, what I have to do is, so here I have credentials, which has username and password, and I'm creating another parameter, which is password, and I'm selecting the credentials.dat file. So under this credentials, it is going to be, go to the by name and choose username and set everything, the comma delimiter or the first line, everything can be based on our requirement, but make sure you select the right name that has to be part of this particular parameter, and go to the password now. Here you have the same file, just select by name and choose password. So with that, every time you run the script, automatically based on this selection, the files will work. And for now, if we are selecting the username. So what I'm doing is like I am selecting the sequential one and updating the value on each iteration. And when I go to the password, if I select as same line as credential, which is the same line as password, so every time whatever the line that has been selected, say for example, if you are selecting one in the first execution, automatically the password will be the one which is on the same line. Again, if it is two for the username, the two will be the password. So with this, it is also easy for us to handle the values. Say for example, if you want to delete the values, you can just go to the notepad, remove this file, and you are good. So this will reflect in every place. Go to the credentials, it's same. Go to the password, it's same. So this will actually save you a lot of time when you are working in a huge project where you have multiple credentials to handle. So let me just now add the next the again credentials to make sure we have different credentials during execution. So this is very simple, but make sure you do this very clearly. And this is how we are going to do. So create a single file. So create a single file, but tag it with multiple parameters. Say for example, you have the credentials, which is the password. So let me just change it to username. Let me change it to username. And the second is going to be the password. So both username and password share the same file, but selecting the column will bring the difference. Let's now close it, and we will replace now. So you all know how to replace it. We just directly right click on it and replace with the parameter. So here we have the list of parameters that we can replace. So I'm selecting as username, and it will ask, do you want to replace all occurrences of the string with the parameter? So if the values that are going to change is unique, you can go with yes. If it is different, please click on no, because there are chances where your password might be replaced with the username. So now I'm clicking on the password, I'm selecting the password, and again I'm clicking on no. And let me again go to the search and do a quick search of whether is there any other values that I have to replace. And I don't. Okay, there are a few other values as well. Let's change that. So let us change it. The username, no, and the password, again, we are going to replace it with the password. And again, clicking on no. Let's do one more search to avoid any other chances. Okay, so with that, we have completed all the changes. And let's now do a simple execution. So let's go to the runtime settings. Make the run logic to 2, since I wanted to validate 2 iterations. And let me do a simple execution. The compilation has over, and let's see the execution now. Let's go to the runtime data and see. So now we are into the iteration 1. and line number 3. So the execution has started and it is working fine. So now the username and password is 1. So now we have completed the scripting and we have completed the replay as well, and they are working fine. So to know more on the data, to see whether or how the data is being used in the script, let's go to the runtime settings. And here, go to the log, which is under the pacing. So go to the log and enable the extended log, which take us to the parameter substitution. And let us now save it and do another round of execution. Let's see how the values are getting displayed. So now we have executed the script and we could see, last time we could not see the values here, but now let us search the username and password. So here we can see the username that has been substituted, which is the 1, and then the sign in has happened. And let's now, so 2 iterations, so 2 times 1, and let's see the 2 value, whether it has been substituted. Yes. So now we can see that the username and password has been successfully parameterized and substituted into the script. So let's now do a quick recap before we end. So we have created a script where it wanted us to parameter the username and password. So then we have come to the parameters part and we have created a file with a username and the password. And again, I have missed to tell, so the comma delimiter, so we have various options. One is the comma, and the next one is space, and then third one is tab. And since I chose comma in between the values, so I choose comma here. So that will actually, the delimiter part is something like which separates the values. So I'm giving the comma, and it's always recommended to give the comma, since that will help us to bring different words. Say for example, if you have something like a word which has 2 separate parts, and whenever you're coming up with a space, so it's always recommended to give comma as a delimiter. And then we have created 2 different parameters, but the file is same, but then you chose the parameter by their name, which is the username here, and in the password you chose the password as the parameter, and then we have chose the select next row which is as sequential and update each value on each iteration. And under the username, under the password, we chose same line as username. So this will help us to iterate based on the username selection. Say for example, if it is 2, automatically the password will be 2, and if the username is 1, the password will be 1. And then we have replaced by just right clicking on the parameter that we wanted to replace. Right click on it, do a parameter replacement. So let me just give a demo. Just right click on the value which we want to parameter. Just for an example, I am selecting once again. In case if you have missed, right click on the value which you want to replace and click on replace with parameter and choose the parameter which you want to replace. So that will help us to replace the right parameter. So with that, we come to an end. I believe this video will be very useful to you. Please do subscribe, like, and share it with your friends. Let's meet with another interesting video in our next video. Thank you.